I was cooking in general quarters, come over the speaker, and I went to my station, which was a rangefinder, and while we were up there, the Jap planes went over us. The power plant, where we were tied up right across from the power plant, and we give the guns the range, and the guns started to fire at them, and they turned around and went back to sea.
That was Coast Guardsman Howard Lester Hayes. He served aboard the Coast Guard cutter Taney during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Hayes, like so many others, experienced up close the day that then United States President Franklin Delano Roosevelt called a date which will live in infamy. My name is Scott Price. I am the Chief Historian for the United States Coast Guard. I would like to give you a little insight on what the Coast Guard did on that fateful day in December of 1941. Most know that the Coast Guard cutter Taney took part in the battle on December 7, 1941, during the attacks on Pearl Harbor. Many don't realize the Coast Guard had quite a number of other units and personnel who also took part in the U.S. defense of Hawaii that Sunday. The lighthouse service had come under Coast Guard control in 1939, which made all lighthouses actually Coast Guard stations. The lightkeeper of the lighthouse at Barbers Point on that day witnessed an aerial battle when a Val dive bomber was shot down over Oahu, and two of the aircrew bailed out right over his station. The Army confronted and killed both Japanese airmen who would not surrender. After that incident, the lighthouse was put under Army control. Other units included two large buoy tenders based out of Hawaii. One was named Kukui. A platoon of Army soldiers needed to be transported to the small island off the coast of Hawaii called Niihau. They were searching for a Japanese Zero pilot who crash-landed his aircraft on the island and had taken a small number of island natives prisoners. The Army needed to get that platoon quickly to the island to capture the Japanese pilot. The Kukui undertook the voyage, but arrived too late. The locals had already killed the Japanese pilot. The Coast Guard cutter Tiger, a 125-foot patrol boat, normally called a buck and a quarter, was on patrol off the coast of Honolulu when it came under a brief attack by Japanese aircraft. The patrol boat sustained no casualties and continued patrolling throughout the day. The integration of the Coast Guard's 14th District units into the Navy's command structure well before the Pearl Harbor attack prepared those Coast Guard units and the Coast Guard overall to meet the challenges in other theaters and throughout the Pacific during World War II. The Coast Guard's action that day demonstrated that the Coast Guard was ready to defend the country in our way of life as one of the nation's armed services.